The Book of Jasher, a captioned audiobook narrated by In His Word 2. And they came and told Joseph all the words of Pharaoh that he had said concerning him. And Joseph was greatly afraid at the words of Pharaoh and Judah, and his brethren were standing before Joseph indignant and enraged. And all the sons of Jacob roared at Joseph, like the roaring of the sea and its waves. And Joseph was greatly afraid of his brethren and on account of Pharaoh. And Joseph sought a pretext to make himself known unto his brethren, lest they should destroy all Egypt. And Joseph commanded his son Manasseh, and Manasseh went and approached Judah, and placed his hand upon his shoulder, and the anger of Judah was stilled. And Judah said unto his brethren, Let no one of you say that this is the act of an Egyptian youth, for this is the work of my father's house. And Joseph, seeing and knowing that Judah's anger was stilled, he approached to speak unto Judah in the language of mildness. And Joseph said unto Judah, Surely you speak truth, and have this day verified your assertions concerning your strength. And may your God, who delighteth in you, increase your welfare. But tell me truly, why from amongst all thy brethren dost thou wrangle with me on account of the lad, as none of them have spoken one word to me concerning him? And Judah answered Joseph, saying, Surely thou must know that I was security for the lad to his father, saying, If I brought him not unto him, I should bear his blame forever. Therefore I have approached thee from amongst all my brethren, for I saw that thou wast unwilling to suffer him to go from thee. Now therefore may I find grace in thy sight, that thou shalt send him to go with us. And behold, I will remain as a substitute for him, to serve thee in whatever thou desirest. For wheresoever thou shalt send me, I will go to serve thee with great energy. Send me now to a mighty king who has rebelled against thee, and thou shalt know what I will do unto him and unto his land. Although he may have cavalry and infantry, or an exceedingly mighty people, I will slay them all, and bring the king's head before thee. Dost thou not know, or hast thou not heard, that our father Abraham with his servant Eliezer smote all the kings of Elam with their host in one night? They left not one remaining. And ever since that day our father's strength was given unto us for an inheritance, for us and our seed forever. And Joseph answered and said, You speak truth, and falsehood is not in your mouth. For it was also told unto us that the Hebrews have power, and that the Lord their God delighteth much in them. And who then can stand before them? However, on this condition will I send your brother. If you will bring before me his brother the son of his mother, of whom you said that he had gone from you down to Egypt. And it shall come to pass, when you bring unto me his brother, I will take him in his stead, because not one of you was security for him to your father. And when he shall come unto me, I will then send with you his brother, for whom you have been security. And Judah's anger was kindled against Joseph when he spoke this thing, and his eyes dropped blood with anger. And he said unto his brethren, How does this man this day seek his own destruction, and that of all Egypt? And Simeon answered Joseph, saying, Did we not tell thee at first that we knew not the particular spot to which he went, and whether he be dead or alive? And wherefore speaketh my Lord like unto these things? And Joseph, observing the countenance of Judah, discerned that his anger began to kindle when he spoke unto him, saying, Bring unto me your other brother instead of this brother. And Joseph said unto his brethren, Surely you said your brother was either dead or lost. Now, if I shall call him this day, and he should come before you, would you give him unto me instead of his brother? And Joseph began to speak out and call out, Joseph, Joseph, come this day before me, and appear to thy brethren, and sit before them. And when Joseph spoke this thing before them, they looked at each other. They looked each a different way to see from whence Joseph would come before them. Sorry about that. And Joseph observed all their acts, and said unto them, Why do you look here and there? I am Joseph, whom you sold to Egypt. Now therefore let it not grieve you that you sold me, for as a support during the famine did God send me before you. And his brethren were terrified at him when they heard the words of Joseph, and Judah was exceedingly terrified at him. And when Benjamin heard the words of Joseph, he was before them in the inner part of the house. And Benjamin ran unto Joseph his brother, and embraced him, and fell upon his neck, and they wept. And when Joseph's brethren saw that Benjamin had fallen upon his brother's neck, and wept with him, they also fell upon Joseph, and embraced him, and they all wept a great weeping with Joseph. And the voice was heard in the house of Joseph that they were Joseph's brethren, and it pleased Pharaoh exceedingly, for he was afraid of them lest they should destroy Egypt. And Pharaoh sent his servants unto Joseph to congratulate him concerning his brethren who had come to him. And all the captains of the armies and troops that were in Egypt came to rejoice with Joseph, and all Egypt rejoiced greatly about Joseph's brethren. And Pharaoh sent his servants to Joseph, saying, Tell thy brethren to fetch all belonging to them, and let them come unto me, and I will place them in the best part of the land of Egypt. And they did so. And Joseph commanded him that was set over his house to bring out his brethren gifts and garments. And he brought out to them many garments, being robes of royalty, and many gifts. And Joseph divided them amongst his brethren. And he gave unto each of his brethren a change of garments of gold and silver, and 300 pieces of silver. And Joseph commanded them all to be dressed in these garments, and be brought before Pharaoh. And Pharaoh, seeing that all Joseph's brethren were valiant men, and of beautiful appearance, he greatly rejoiced. And they afterward went out from the presence of Pharaoh to go to the land of Canaan, to their father, and their brother Benjamin was with them. And Joseph rose up, and gave unto them 11 chariots from Pharaoh. And Joseph gave unto them his chariot, upon which he rode on the day of his being crowned in Egypt, to fetch his father to Egypt. And Joseph sent all his brothers' children garments according to their numbers, and 100 pieces of silver to each of them. And he also sent garments to the wives of his brethren, from the garments of the king's wives, and he sent them. And he gave unto each of his brethren 10 men to go with them to the land of Canaan to serve them, to serve their children, and all belonging to them in coming to Egypt. And Joseph sent by the hand of his brother Benjamin 10 suits of garments for his 10 sons, a portion above the rest of the children of the sons of Jacob. And he sent to each 50 pieces of silver and 10 chariots on account of Pharaoh. And he sent to his father 10 asses laden with all the luxuries of Egypt, and 10 she-asses laden with corn and bread and nourishment for his father, and to all that were with him as provisions for the road. And he sent to his sister Dinah garments of silver and gold, and frankincense and myrrh, and aloes, and women's ornaments in great plenty. And he sent the same from the wives of Pharaoh to the wives of Benjamin. And he gave unto all his brethren also to their wives all sorts of onyx stones and bdellium, and from all the valuable things amongst the great people of Egypt nothing of all the costly things was left, but what Joseph sent to his father's household. And he sent his brethren away, and they went, and he sent his brother Benjamin with them. And Joseph went out with them to accompany them on the road unto the borders of Egypt. And he commanded them concerning his father and his household to come to Egypt. And he said unto them, Do not quarrel on the road, for this thing was from the Lord to keep a great people from starvation, for there will be yet 5 years of famine in the land. And he commanded them, saying, When you come into the land of Canaan, do not come suddenly before my father in this affair, but act in your wisdom. And Joseph ceased to command them, and he turned and went back to Egypt. And the sons of Jacob went to the land of Canaan with joy and cheerfulness to their father Jacob. And they came unto the borders of the land, and they said to each other, What shall we do in this matter before our father? For if we come suddenly to him and tell him the matter, he will be greatly alarmed at our words, and will not believe us. And they went along until they came nigh unto their houses, and they found Serach and the daughter of Asher going forth to meet them. And the damsel was very good and subtle, and knew how to play upon the harp. And they called unto her, and she came before them, and she kissed them. And they took her and gave unto her a harp, saying, Go now before our father, and sit before him, and strike upon the harp, and speak these words. And they commanded her to go to their house. And she took the harp, and hastened before them. And she came and sat near Jacob. And she played well, and sang, and uttered in sweetness of her words, Joseph my uncle is living, and he ruleth throughout the land of Egypt, and is not dead. And she continued to repeat and utter these words. And Jacob heard her words, and they were agreeable to him. He listened whilst she repeated them twice and thrice, and joy entered the heart of Jacob at the sweetness of her words. And the Spirit of God was upon him, and he knew all her words to be true. And Jacob blessed Serach when she spoke these words before him. And he said unto her, My daughter, may death never prevail over thee, for thou hast revived my spirit. Only speak yet before me as thou hast spoken, for thou hast gladdened me with all thy words. And she continued to sing these words. And Jacob listened, and it pleased him, and he rejoiced, and the Spirit of God was upon him. Whilst he was yet speaking with her, behold, his sons came with horses and chariots, and royal garments, and servants running before them. And Jacob rose up to meet them, and saw his sons dressed in royal garments, and he saw all the treasures that Joseph had sent to them. And they said unto him, Be informed that our brother Joseph is living, And it is he who ruleth throughout the land of Egypt, and it is he who spoke unto us as we told thee. And Jacob heard all the words of his sons, and his heart palpitated at their words, for he could not believe them until he saw all that Joseph had given them, and what he had sent him, and all the signs which Joseph had spoken unto them. And they opened out before him, and showed him all that Joseph had sent, and they gave unto each what Joseph had sent him. And he knew that they had spoken the truth, and he rejoiced exceedingly on account of his son. And Jacob said, It is enough for me that my son Joseph is still living. I will go and see him before I die. And his sons told him all that had befallen them. And Jacob said, I will go down to Egypt to see my son and his offspring. And Jacob rose up, and put on the garments which Joseph had sent him. And after he had washed and shaved his hair, he put upon his head the turban which Joseph had sent him. And all the people of Jacob's house and their wives put on the garments which Joseph had sent to them. And they greatly rejoiced at Joseph that he was still living, and that he was ruling in Egypt. And all the inhabitants of Canaan heard of this thing, and they came and rejoiced much with Jacob that he was still living. And Jacob made a feast for them for 3 days, and all the kings of Canaan and nobles of the land ate and drank and rejoiced in the house of Jacob. The book of Jasher, chapter 55. And it came to pass after this that Jacob said, I will go and see my son in Egypt, and will then come back to the land of Canaan, of which God had spoken unto Abraham, for I cannot leave the land of my birthplace. Behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, Go down to Egypt with all thy household, and remain there. Fear not to go down to Egypt, for I will there make thee a great nation. And Jacob said within himself, I will go and see my son, whether the fear of his God is yet in his heart amidst all the inhabitants of Egypt. And the Lord said unto Jacob, Fear not about Joseph, for he still retaineth his integrity to serve me, as will seem good in thy sight. And Jacob rejoiced exceedingly concerning his son. At that time Jacob commanded his sons and household to go to Egypt according to the word of the Lord unto him. And Jacob rose up with his sons and all his household, and he went out from the land of Canaan from Beersheba with joy and gladness of heart, and they went to the land of Egypt. And it came to pass, when they came near Egypt, Jacob sent Judah before him to Joseph, that he might show him a situation in Egypt. And Judah did according to the word of his father. And he hastened and ran and came to Joseph. And they assigned for them a place in the land of Goshen for all his household. And Judah returned and came along the road to his father. And Joseph harnessed the chariot, and he assembled all his mighty men and his servants and all the officers of Egypt, in order to go and meet his father Jacob. And Joseph's mandate was proclaimed in Egypt, saying, All that do not go to meet Jacob shall die. And on the next day Joseph went forth with all Egypt, a great and mighty host, all dressed in garments of fine linen and purple, and with instruments of silver and gold, and with their instruments of war with them. And they all went to meet Jacob with all sorts of musical instruments, with drums and timbrels, strewing myrrh and aloes all along the road. And they all went after this fashion, and the earth shook at their shouting. And all the women of Egypt went upon the roofs of Egypt and upon the walls to meet Jacob. And upon the head of Joseph was Pharaoh's regal crown, for Pharaoh has sent it unto him to put on at the time of his going to meet his father. And when Joseph came within 50 cubits of his father, he alighted from the chariot, and he walked toward his father. And when all the officers of Egypt and their nobles saw that Joseph had gone on foot toward his father, they also alighted and walked on foot toward Jacob. And when Jacob approached the camp of Joseph, Jacob observed the camp that it was coming toward him with Joseph, and it gratified him, and Jacob was astonished at it. And Jacob said unto Judah, Who is that man whom I see in the camp of Egypt dressed in kingly robes, with a very red garment upon him, and a royal crown upon his head, who has alighted from his chariot, and is coming toward us? And Judah answered his father, saying, He is thy son Joseph, the king. And Jacob rejoiced in seeing the glory of his son. And Joseph came nigh unto his father, and he bowed to his father. And all the men of the camp bowed to the ground with him before Jacob. And behold, Jacob ran and hastened to his son Joseph, and fell upon his neck and kissed him. And they wept. And Joseph also embraced his father and kissed him. And they wept, and all the people of Egypt wept with them. And Jacob said unto Joseph, Now I will die cheerfully, after I have seen thy face, that thou art still living, and with glory. And the sons of Jacob and their wives and their children and their servants and all the household of Jacob wept exceedingly with Joseph, and they kissed him and wept greatly with him. And Joseph and all his people returned afterward home to Egypt. And Jacob and his sons and all the children of his household came with Joseph to Egypt. And Joseph placed them in the best part of Egypt, in the land of Goshen. And Joseph said unto his father and unto his brethren, I will go up and tell Pharaoh, saying, My brethren and my father's household and all belonging to them have come unto me, and behold, they are in the land of Goshen. And Joseph did so, and took from his brethren Reuben, Issachar, Zebulun, and his brother Benjamin, and he placed them before Pharaoh. And Joseph spoke unto Pharaoh, saying, My brethren and my father's household and all belonging to them, together with their flocks and cattle, have come unto me from the land of Canaan to sojourn in Egypt, for the famine was sore upon them. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, Place thy father and brethren in the best part of the land, withhold not from them all that is good, and cause them to eat of the fat of the land. And Joseph answered, saying, Behold, I have stationed them in the land of Goshen, for they are shepherds. Therefore let them remain in Goshen to feed their flocks apart from the Egyptians. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, Do with thy brethren all that they shall say unto thee. And the sons of Jacob bowed down before Pharaoh, and they went forth from him in peace. And Joseph afterward brought his father before Pharaoh. And Jacob came and bowed down to Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And he then went out, and Jacob and all his sons and all his household dwelt in the land of Goshen. In the 2nd year, that is, in the 130th year of the life of Jacob, Joseph maintained his father and his brethren and all his father's household with bread according to their little ones all the days of the famine. They lacked nothing. And Joseph gave unto them the best part of the whole land, The best of Egypt had they all the days of Joseph. And Joseph also gave unto them and unto the whole of his father's household clothes and garments year by year. And the sons of Jacob remained securely in Egypt all the days of their brother. And Jacob always ate at Joseph's table. Jacob and his sons did not leave Joseph's table day or night, besides what Jacob's children consumed in their houses. And all Egypt ate bread during the days of the famine from the house of Joseph, for all the Egyptians sold all belonging to them on account of the famine. And Joseph purchased all the lands and fields of Egypt for bread on account of Pharaoh. And Joseph supplied all Egypt with bread all the days of the famine. And Joseph collected all the silver and gold that came unto him for the corn which they bought throughout the land. And he accumulated much gold and silver, besides an immense quantity of onyx stones, bdellium, and valuable garments, which they brought unto Joseph from every part of the land when their money was spent. And Joseph took all the silver and gold that came into his hand, about 72 talents of gold and silver, and also onyx stones and bdellium in great abundance. And Joseph went and concealed them in 4 parts. And he concealed 1 part in the wilderness near the Red Sea, and 1 part by the river Perath, and the 3rd and 4th part he concealed in the desert opposite to the wilderness of Persia and Media. And he took part of the gold and silver that was left, and gave it unto his brothers, and unto all his father's household, and unto all the women of his father's household. And the rest he brought to the house of Pharaoh, about 20 talents of gold and silver. And Joseph gave all the gold and silver that was left unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh placed it in the treasury. And the days of the famine ceased after that in the land, and they sowed and reaped in the whole land, and they obtained their usual quantity year by year. They lacked nothing. And Joseph dwelt securely in Egypt, and the whole land was under his advice. And his father and all his brethren dwelt in the land of Goshen, and took possession of it. And Joseph was very aged, advanced in days, and his 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, remained constantly in the house of Jacob, together with the children of the sons of Jacob, their brethren, to learn the ways of the Lord and his law. And Jacob and his sons dwelt in the land of Egypt, in the land of Goshen, and they took possession in it, and they were fruitful and multiplied in it.